Good morning, D. How you doing, buddy? Things going well for you? Folks, we're 4 weeks away from January, and that means everyone's now thinking, well, a lot of us are thinking new year, new me. And already I'd say a lot of people are projecting the end goal in their heads. If I get 2 stone off me, I'll be happy. If I build this muscle, I'll be happy. Whatever it is you're projecting as your future self, you're aligning yourself with an end goal. And when you cement that idea into your head, the problem is you most likely won't achieve it. And what I mean by that is your end goal right now, the 2 stone off, the building muscle, the tendon gym, whatever it is you're going to do, that's been formed from the current version of you today, right now. You're only able to think about how you, in a way that you currently feel. And what you don't realise is that if you join a gym, I'm going to take fitness for example, but this could be spirituality, it could be mindset, it could be your job, anything. But everything you do is based off how you feel right now, and how you feel right now is going to determine how you think. And if you commit to a process, in 6 months' time, that journey, that goal, it's going to have changed. You're no longer going to be seeking the goal you did from the version you are now, because in that 6-month journey, you'll have changed. You'll have completely become a different person. You'll have dropped things. You'll be thinking differently. You'll be acting differently. You'll be feeling differently. Therefore, the goal that you were seeking will have changed. But if you're still cemented into this rigid place of you must achieve that goal, then there's going to be a disconnect. And I see this so often, and I see so many people failing their journey, and I see so many people giving up because they haven't allowed themselves space or time to actually acknowledge that the journey they took, the journey they embarked on, it has changed them. And because they have changed, the goal will have changed. But so many of us are still rigid in our belief structures, and we're not willing to actually consider that the journey we go along is the goal. The journey doesn't end. And so many of us are stuck in this mindset that we must achieve 2 stone. I've seen people who have completely revamped their lives, their health, their physical appearance, but they didn't achieve the goal they were after. For example, there's a guy in my gym, and he joined there about 8 weeks ago, and he's dropped over a stone, and he's changed how he's training, and his belt's hanging off, his trousers hanging off, and then his belt, but he's still focused on, I haven't lost this amount of weight. And even though he turned around and said to me, yes, he was like my trousers are hanging off me now, but the scales haven't really changed. And I was trying to point out to him, what's the problem with that? You've turned up to the gym every day. You've said you're going to turn up. You've put the effort in you said you're going to put in. You're getting stronger. You're lifting more weight. You're building muscle. You've obviously dropped some body fat because your trousers are hanging off. You've put 2 holes in your belt. But you're still fixated on the fact that you haven't lost the weight that you perceived in your head when you first started. Therefore, you're still attached to this, I'm a failure. And in front of all this tangible evidence that he has actually changed and he is improving, because the goal that he foreseen in his head hasn't been achieved yet, he hasn't succeeded. And how many people can relate to that? It's like the world I'm in, the spiritual world, or whatever you want to call it. I call it the spiritual world because a lot of people aren't spiritual, they're just traumatized. But they've got this end goal of enlightenment, or they're going to heal the world. And they're so focused on that and so fixated on it that they don't realise, oh shit, there's gloves. They don't realise that as individuals they have completely changed. Put my gloves on here. They have completely changed, and they're now operating from a different perspective. Their mindset has changed, but somewhere in their subconscious, their nervous system is still activated by this belief that they're holding on to, that until they achieve what they first started out to achieve, they haven't succeeded. It's a pandemic. You're not going to always succeed in the goals you set, because the journey you're going to go on to try to achieve that goal is going to change you as a man or a woman, and that's going to shift the focus. It's going to change your direction. And if you're not aware of that, if you can't have that, what's the word I'm looking for? Plasticity, to allow yourself to move and flow with the challenge and the experience, you're going to cement yourself in a spot that's never going to truly allow you to get to where you want to be. And so many of us are blind to our achievements. And because we're blind to these achievements, we're never feeling worthy, and we're never really giving ourselves that space to just sit with how far we've come. And if we were all able to just do that, you would be able to see the road you've travelled has changed you, most likely for the better. I'm not where I want to be, but who I wanted to be 4 years ago, that man doesn't exist anymore. I don't know who he is. I sit here on my bench every day and I ponder this and I think on this, and I like, the guy I am today, the guy I was, couldn't envision this man today. He would never have had the courage or the confidence to speak how I'm speaking, or say what I'm saying, or think how I'm thinking, or feel how I'm feeling. It was the journey that I embarked on that's brought me to this point, And this is where, like, just allowing yourself to sit with your thoughts, observe them, is so crucial. And this is why I'm always telling people, I know you're looking to lose weight. I know you believe that losing that 2 stone or building the muscle or getting the 6-pack is going to be the catalyst for changing your life. But it's not. It's going to be the journey that you embark on to get there, and allowing yourself to acknowledge that journey. That is going to be the catalyst for change. And when you embark on these journeys and you take your first step, you've got to recognise that there's going to be barriers and blockages and obstacles put in your path purposely. The higher self is going to find these ways of finding obstacles that you must overcome, and you can't get around them. The only way is through it. And so many of us waste so much energy trying to figure out a way of going around the pain rather than immerse ourselves into it, that we never get to where we want to be. And when we don't get to where we want to be, all that does is reinforce in our unconscious mind that we're not good enough. And if you're not good enough, if that's how you're thinking, if that's the vibrational frequency you're resonating at, then you're always going to find ways to justify it. And this is why so many of us quit on the journey. Start setting the barometer a lot lower than you feel, because you've got to look in the mirror and acknowledge that you're not happy. And because you're not happy, your frequency and your habits and your nervous system and the chemical outputs in the brain, they're going to find ways of holding you where you currently are, feeling how you're currently feeling. And that, on the unconscious level, means you're going to set the barometer too high. And then when you don't achieve that benchmark, it's just validation that you're not good enough. And then it justifies you going back to the old habits of quitting on yourself and comparing yourself to others on social media and finding ways to justify how everyone else is better than you. And it's not true. It's simply not true. Every single one of us have got a different path to walk along. We're here for a journey. We're here for a specific reason. And you're creating all of these moments, and you're seeing these as problems. Every blockage, every barrier is a problem. It's not. It's the opportunity. That's what you're looking for. You should be seeking these barriers out. You'd be seeking these obstacles out, because let's take fitness as an example. If I train for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it is, and I'm consistent with it, I'll have built muscle. but I've built mind muscle as well. And the obstacle that I'm about to encounter, that the old self when I first started would be overwhelmed by, if I allow myself to recognise the path I've walked and the commitment I've made and the dedication to the process, then I've got tangible evidence that I'm better than I was, and that I've got more strength than I was, and I've got more fortitude than I had, and now I've got the ability to overcome this new obstacle. You're never, ever, ever going to change it. It's always going to be, the path you walk is going to always have the obstacles you need to overcome. That's just part of the journey. If you don't accept that, then you're never getting anywhere. And everyone's journey is going to be different. It could be an alcoholic, could be a drug addiction, could be porn addiction, could be food addiction, could be relationship problems, it could be how you feel about yourself, could be relationship problems, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's there for a lesson for you to grow from. But we're so trapped in our own belief structures and our own mind, and we're so lonely, so isolated, so unwilling to discuss and talk how we feel, that we cement ourselves in this spot and complain about why we can't get over there. We can't get over there because you won't allow yourself. That's the painful truth of this. And as you change physically, you've got to be willing to acknowledge you're going to change mentally and you're going to change emotionally. And you should celebrate these small wins instead of criticising yourself and berating yourself for not achieving what you thought you would have in the time frame you thought you should have. Find the positives, find the successes. Sit with yourself and allow yourself to ruminate on the journey you've embarked on, and find the small wins, because they are going to be the way to get you through the darkness you've got to go through, because everyone's got to go through darkness. Our darkness is going to be unique to ourselves. You have the power because behind the ego mind you find God, that is the observer. Yeah, it's like, yeah, what you want to call God is Manus is exactly it. I have a different version of God to other people. But funny enough, we were at a Whitling class last night, and it fits in perfectly here. It was like, we had a very deep conversation. This guy was talking about how Jesus saved his life and how Jesus is a man, and I challenged him, saying, "What is Jesus?" You know, and he got really triggered. But I wasn't trying to offend him. I was trying to make him consider that maybe the archetype of Jesus that he fixates on is the reason why he's not achieving what he's achieving, because he's given his power away to something else. This is the thing. If you're a Christian, you know, if you believe in God, that's up to you. But you know, Jesus did say to you, "The kingdom of heaven is within," and he did say to you, that, "Why do you worship me, but not do the things I tell you?" I don't believe Jesus was a man like the Jesus man. I believe he's I believe he was like a ascended master. I don't believe he was the son of God. I believe it's been completely manipulated to enslave us into believing that someone else will come along to save us. So all we've got to do is sit here and wait. But that enslaves you. You're not here to wait. You're here to succeed. You're here to embark on this journey that's going to help your spiritual and emotional and physical and mental growth. And if you don't recognise that, you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to have to come back and do this all again until you eventually get it right. There is no right or wrong way. It's just a lesson. We've got micro lessons and macro lessons. The micro lessons are what you experience in this lifetime. The macro lessons will be the lifetimes you continually have to endure until you overcome the lesson that you're here to learn. And then you'll move on to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. It doesn't end. This is the thing. It doesn't end. We are looking for an end goal, both spiritually, physically, and mentally. But when you make peace and surrender to the fact that it doesn't end, you're just here to learn. It frees you up. It allows you to have more energy to focus on the now. Because if you're focused on the end goal and you're putting all your energy to that, you're missing the present. And the present is the only thing we've got. The right now, the here and now is all we have available. The past exists in our mind. The future exists in our mind. But the present exists in the now. vivid dreams. I believe dreams are symbolic. I believe dreams are messages from the higher self. Absolutely. I've had a couple of crazy dreams that, when interpreted, frighten the shit out of me because it's just so accurate in how we're doing, what I'm doing right now, and what I'm currently going through. Dreams are the message from the higher self. It's having someone that can interpret. I've got a good friend who interprets dreams really, really well. He's connected very much to the spirit realm, and he's able to interpret things that just, when you just tell him, he just is able to put it into words in a way that just blows you away. It just hits you. And that's the whole thing. It's having the courage to listen to yourself and not to anyone else. And again, I'll go back to Jesus. Jesus said that in the Bible, or Yahweh. Jesus was just a made-up name that we created whenever the Yah was divided from the I and the Y, the J. We chose the J as his name. He was known as Yahweh. But, like, I find it really sad sometimes to see so many people in a place where they don't have to be. Now listen, it's their journey. I was there. I haven't got myself out of there, and I'm now currently in a new place where I've now got a barrier and a blockage to overcome. But I'm also in a place where I know emotionally and spiritually and mentally that I have to go through it. I can't avoid it. And that's something that experience of this teaches you. Most people live in the hamster wheel, just going round and round and round and round and round, wondering why things never change. But instead of the hamster wheel, think of it like a spiral. You start in the centre and you move out and you go out and it gets further and further. And every time, let's say it hits 12 o'clock, it's your problem place. So problem place, come out of it, feels good, back to a new problem. New problem's even deeper, more intense, more terrifying than the first one. But you've been in that journey, you've walked that path, now you've got more experience, so you're able to cope with it. You're able to apply the lessons of that smaller circle, that smaller first spiral part, to apply to this new blockage. And then you get over that, and the next one comes around, and the next one, so they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But you get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And you're able to then reach back to those experiences and apply the lessons to allow you to overcome. And every time you overcome this lesson or overcome this experience, you grow stronger, and you have something else in your back pocket to pull out when the next one comes around. Culturally, we're so soft and so weak and so used to having everything at our fingertips that we haven't got the fortitude or ability to cope with the simplest of struggles. Got to release those emotional blocks, otherwise the emotion cable, 100%, and yep, Katrina, you're right, the only way around a problem is through it. But like, I look at the kids today, our fault, like I said yesterday, but I look at them and you can feel it, you can feel their energy, you can feel their insecurities, their inability to cope with just normal everyday life experiences is so profound now. We have allowed society to come to this point where it doesn't have the ability to develop anymore. We will, if we don't do something about it, very soon we're going to find AI dictating everything. Look, I just watched the video yesterday of a young boy who took his life, 14 years old, because he created a relationship with an AI bot, and he ended up killing himself because of what I was saying. Like, it's heartbreaking that our children are so isolated, so alone, feel so insecure and unable to communicate their feelings, that they're turning to computers as a solace, as a way to find some sort of companionship. We've failed as a society, but in failures there's lessons. Because we've failed in something doesn't mean it's over. We can still change it, but we need to learn, and we need to look at the lessons, and we need to look at what we're doing and how we're doing it and what's happening because of the actions we're taking, and then take drastic action to change it. Now, we do it individually, but we do it as a collective as well. You know, look at Tesco's and that shit they're putting into the cows. How so many people as a collective are now standing up and going, fuck this, we're not having that. That's happening as an individual level and a collective level. And it's the same thing for our minds, our emotions, our feelings. We've all got to be willing to recognise where we've gone wrong and do something to change it. Where I'm from, there's nothing for kids to do. They only sit in the rooms. But that's because we choose it. Listen, I'm 47. Now, at 47 years old, means I was a kid in the 80s. We didn't have the internet, didn't have computer games. I remember getting the Atari. I've still got the original Atari. But we didn't have computer games. We didn't have fucking all the shit we have today. But we found things to do. We climbed trees. We used to put cut yogurt carts up and connect them to the back of our bike with a peg to make a motorbike noise, and then have motorbike races, or bike races, and pretend we're motorbikes down a hill. We made go-karts, and we raced them with go-karts. We fucking played hunt and hide and seek and stuck in the mud, and the games that kids played. They done this thing. It was called using your imagination. It's a phenomenal thing. But the internet of everything, has removed kids' abilities to think for themselves. And that's our fault. Good morning. That is our fault. We have allowed this to happen. It's so easy. It's so comfortable to just give our kid the iPad as we do our busy shit in the mornings and keep them occupied. We don't hear them going, daddy, 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 daddy. But we did that to our parents, and our parents coped. And we melt their heads because that's what kids do. And our kids are meant to melt our heads, but we're just so weak ourselves now, so conditioned to the comfort of life that we don't want to experience that. We don't want to, and you know what? We're actually removing our ability to communicate with our kids, because in that daddy, 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 there's conversations to be had. There's moments and memories to be made. But we don't want to do that because it's easier to just do something else. This is the whole thing. Like, even saying it's our kids, no. That's blame game. It's not the kids' fault. It's your fault. It's my fault. It's our fault as a collective. It's our fault as individuals. And when we can get to that point where we recognise that and understand that, we can do something about it. But if we're just going to continually project blame on the other people, then we're just going to be stuck here in this quagmire of fucking, I don't know, it's just technocracy and fucking, it's just a sad state of affairs. And it's the cure's all around us. The cure's found here in nature. The amount of conversations I have with people on a daily basis, just sitting on this bench, people I don't know, talking about anything. It's nice because that's the present moment. That's what we did around the campfires. We just communed with each other. We just spoke. We didn't. It wasn't a big deal. The art of conversation's been lost. Do you know, even like I laugh when I go on here and people come on and tell me, why are you talking to two people, mate? There's no one listening. Like, it's not about that. It's about, Adam, I'm good. How are you, buddy? It's about trying to wake people up. And if you only wake one person, it's that, ripple effect. If I drop a stone into that water there, the ripples spread out miles and miles and miles from the fucking, where the source of the stone went in. The ripple effect of just impacting one life, one single life, cannot be overemphasized. Getting people to just say hello to each other. Start small. Next time you're walking past someone, smile. Just smile at them. They mightn't smile at you. That doesn't matter. That's on them, not you. You're creating a habit of saying hello to someone, and for all you know, one person you say hello to, that could stop them doing something stupid. That could make them feel heard, seen. That could maybe change their mind and stop them doing something that they were maybe planning on doing. We just don't understand. We don't recognise the power we have within ourselves to impact other people's lives from a simple smile. A hug. I told you the other week, when I got that hug when I was going to end my life, that 20-second hug completely revolutionised who I am. Do you know, this is the power we have. We're energetic beings, all of us. We've all got our own vibrational energy, And if we focus on raising our own vibrational energy, we affect the collectives. So don't put yourself down. You're a god within yourself. We're all gods. We've all got the power to be a god. And we can change people's lives like a god through the simplest means. Saying hello, giving a hug, a smile as you walk past, asking are they all right. This is not a hard thing to do. It's only a hard thing because we tell ourselves it is. We have this story in our mind that it's going to be so difficult. We create barriers in our own brains because it's easier to stay where we are, comfortable in our story and our narrative, than it is to step out and try to change a wee bit. I struggled with that for years, but I made a conscious effort to come down and start saying hello to people. It took courage, believe it or not, for me to start speaking to people again and say hello to people. But it has to start somewhere. And if that takes courage, well then, if that's fear in you, well then acknowledge that it was fear and acknowledge the courage the courage you took to do it, and praise yourself for it and be happy that you did it. And move forward and keep doing it. And don't internalise anything, don't personalise anything when someone else's response is not the response that you want. See, that's the whole thing. We do things with a preconceived idea of the response we're going to get, and if we don't get that response, then there's a negative outcome for us, or we feel bad about it. It's not going to do with you. You're as long as you're doing something from the goodness of your heart, from a connected place, from an authentic place, somewhere like where your intention is true, then other people's response is not your responsibility or business. Do you know? Yeah, it is a bit cold today. It's a bit colder today than it was yesterday, even though it was colder yesterday. There was a bit of a wind chill here. But still, I don't mind the weather. That's the thing, you know. Again, it's too wet to go out there. It's not about that. There's the buzzards attacking the crows again. That buzzard gets butchered by those crows every day. But I come down here to experience all the weathers, bar really heavy rain, because I'm not going to sit here and chat and the brain's pissing down. But morning, James. But I tell people that, people say to me, "You're mad going out there." It's like, what if you were told that today was your last day, that tonight at 9 o'clock you were going to die, and it's fucking freezing outside? Are you going to go out, or are you going to sit in the house and just do it live your last 12 hours indoors? No, you're going to get out. You're going to look at the trees, the bushes, the water, the birds, the animals, the smells, the sights, the sounds. They're going to have a different meaning, a different flavour to it. And for some of us, that today could be the last day. Me, could be my last day. So that's why I try to come out here and just appreciate just this, because it's good for the soul. My problems are still there. I'm going to go back to the gym, and my problems will still be there. And I'll still be ruminating with my problems and my pains and my worries and the sadness. They're all still going to come up. But not now. Not at this moment. This is my happy place. I just like it. It just makes me feel good. It's nice to just sit, relax, and enjoy the sounds. And that's something we all can do, but we choose not to, because it's easier to sit in a nice warm house and tell ourselves a story. Oh, it's too cold out there. Cold is a feeling. You can't really appreciate the heat. You know when you appreciate the heat? When you've been out in the snow for 2 hours and you come inside and the house is warm, you're like, and your mum says, "Do you want a cup of hot chocolate?" And you're like, yes. That's when you really appreciate. Hot chocolate isn't really that nice when you're just sitting there in the hot house watching Netflix. Oh, thanks very much. But when you come in from the cold, it's like, yes, mummy, thank you. You remember them days? You know, putting logs in the fire. You come in from a cold and your ma had the fire on the go, and you would sit in the fire and just let the heat warm your toes and your fingers, and it would feel great. Because the polarities, we need to experience polarities to experience life. But so many of us are unwilling to, that we're just sitting in the meh. And then life becomes meh. And then everyone else around us becomes meh, because we attract the same people. You never become what you're meant to become without challenges. You're 100% right, man. That's it. And that's why so many of us are looking to social media and watching 22-year-old kids fucking telling us how to live our lives as 45-year-old adults. Because we somehow have been conditioned to believe these kids know it more, because they're projecting this image on their screens of how they're living and this quality of life. Life isn't about money. Yes, money gives you opportunities. Money can bring you happiness, I suppose. It can bring you contentment. It can give you experiences, but it can't bring you true happiness. It's not going to bring your mother back or your father back when they die. It's not going to fucking heal the relationship. It's not going to do all the things that actually matter. And that's where we need to recognise. We need to understand that money is an enslavement tool. It gives us opportunities, absolutely. We can definitely experience the world better if we have it. But it's not the be all and end all. I don't know, if it was, then the billionaires wouldn't be killing themselves. Good morning, ladies.
And she says...
Millionaires wouldn't be depressed, but yet they are. So, and you know what? With more money comes more problems, because your lifestyle, their barometer rises, and then the higher you go, the further you've got to fall, the more you've got to lose. But we're all going to be on our deathbed one day, whether it be a massive impact from a car or just landing there around, surrounded by our family as they get old. Hopefully it's the latter. But I can guarantee you now, there's never been a man alive that's wanted to be surrounded by his pounds and notes over his family when he's dying. It just doesn't happen that way. That's the conditioned narrative that we're set to believe. That think about why you want money so much, because you're told you want it. You're watching people on social media continually telling you that this is the way you need it, that we've got these advertisements, the 6-figure businesses and fucking blah blah blah, make this amount of money and make that amount of money. It's all an enslavement tool. I'm not saying don't make it. We all have to make it to survive in this world, because that's the world we've decided to live in. But don't put your happiness upon it, because you're only going to come up short. Happiness is found in the moment. Happiness is found hugging your friend, your kid giving you a drawing. I keep all my kids' drawings. My two draw me pictures and cards and all the time, and love it, because they've put their actual intention, they've created that with me in their mind. Do you know, that's the most beautiful thing you can think of. Like, I am so lucky when I get cards like that and I get pictures like that, and I put them on my wall, because they sat down with one intention: I'm going to make Daddy this picture. Do you know how beautiful that is? That's what living is. That's what life is. And your kids, and my two kids, I'm an artist, so my kids are actually good artists, and I love it. I love watching their progress. And I actually get excited. I'm like, wow, look at the way you've done that line. And oh my God, that eye's right in position, that eye's the same size, and your nose is in the right position. And that's really good, sweetheart. And I see the beam in their face because Daddy's giving them praise. We all want validation from our parents, don't we? Because then you feel like you're worthy of something. And you can teach them through that they're worthy regardless. But if you're ignoring them, that's good. Then they're taking that on board themselves, you know. Do you know, when we berate our kids, or we don't give our kids love, they don't love us any less. They love themselves less. And that's something within ourselves. But if we're vibrating at a low frequency, if we're angry or we're upset, day's been hard and you and the missus have had a fight, then you take it out on the kids. You know, like for example, I'm going to read about. I've recognised, it's recognising your own faults, right? And you should get in the whittling. Get the whittle. Do you know something, James? I will be getting Sive in the whittling soon. I think she'd enjoy it, though she'd be very scared of it. Though the slice-proof gloves would help her. But what I've recognised is that, especially Sive, her first 4 or 5 years of her life, maybe 6, I was a shit dad. I just wasn't present. I was so fucked up in my own mind that she was a burden to me, and it broke me and it's killed me. So I'm always on the lookout and always on the way. How can I heal this? What can I do to help that, to change that perspective and heal her unconscious? And I got a book by Susan E. Schwartz, The Absent Father Effect on Daughters, Father Desire, Father Wounds. And I'm going to read this book because it's a Jungian principle. She's a Jungian psychologist. Because I was an absent father. And I always talk about boys and men, but the effect that father has on a daughter is massive. And it's my duty to do what I can to heal what I can for my daughter, because the shit that I put upon her is not hers. That's not hers to carry. It's not her burden to bear. It's mine. But I placed it on her shoulders. And I've seen that effect. I've watched that and I've seen how she acts, and that's my fault. You know, it's her responsibility to heal it, but it's my fault. So it's also my responsibility. So I can do that. It's something that I can apply to myself. I can look at myself and I can ask myself, where have I went wrong? What have I done wrong? How do I change it? And then take actions, take the steps towards changing it. That's not hard to do. It's easy. Simple. Maybe not easy. Simple. Morning, lads. How's keeping? All good?
Yeah, on.
Good. And if we all can do that, if we all can just sit with ourselves and analyse our mistakes, recognise the patterns that we created, and don't berate yourself for it, because it's not your, well, it is your fault, I suppose, but it's not really your fault in the sense that it's how you were operating that from the vibration you were giving out. You know, you were just, it was a survival mechanism. You were doing that because it was a habit that you created from childhood, most likely, to survive, and you're just passing it on to your kids because that's what you do, because your parents are your greatest influence, and you will most likely parent how your parents parented you, unless you're willing to look at that and realise the mistakes they made and then make a vow to change that. And that's what we all can do. All of us can do this. Not all of us will, sadly, but that's the way. That's another thing you want to recognise, that you can't change the world. This is where someone I know really struggles, because she wants to change the world because she can't change herself. It's easier for people to change the world, like PTs. I was that guy. It was always easier for me to change others than it was to change me. And as long as everyone did what I said they would do, then I was happy. But when they didn't follow that, didn't follow the plan, didn't turn up the training, didn't do the things that I didn't do, I projected onto them, because unconsciously it was a reflection on my inability to change them. But I can't change anyone. I can only help you change. And sometimes, and not sometimes, all the time, you've got to make peace with the fact that you will not be able to change the world. You can only change yourself, and hope that the influence that you give out through your change yourself will help others to do the same. That's why my gym's slightly different, but big time different. Because I'm not here to help you. I'm not here to change you. I'm here to help you change if you want to change. Maybe that's why I'm not a multi-million-pound gym like so many other gyms. I'm also not a drug dealer, so maybe that's why I haven't got a successful gym, because a lot of drug dealers out there using gyms as washing shop at the moment. It's the new fucking nail bed, or new shit nail shops and eyebrow shops. But that's the whole thing. You know, what my gym does offer is something that most others don't. It's a chance to actually connect with yourself. When you come to my gym and you get to know me, we're going to have these type of conversations. There'll be a time where we'll be alone, and we will talk deeply, and I will do my best to get you to that perspective, that point where you recognise what is the actual block that's holding you back. Because if you don't face those problems, you're never going to fully change to the man or woman you want to become. You'll always be holding on to that belief that tomorrow I will find the answer, the magic banana. There is no magic banana. You're the magic banana. You're going to have to fucking change yourself by doing the work and recognising that it's not going to be a walk in the park, that it's going to challenge you, that quitting is part of the journey. Giving up on yourself is part of the process. until you actually accept that, you can't move forward. But when you quit, you've got to remember that it's not the end game. It's just a resting point. It's like if you're traveling by road to France, you don't drive it on one road, you on one journey. You stop off at parts and you have a rest and you refuel, and then you get back in the car and you go again and you stop at another point and you refuel. Or you got kids and you're going in the car, you'll do the same thing. Stop at picnic areas, let them stretch their legs, have a picnic, rest, bang in the car, go again. This is life. You can see the similarities in the journeys we have with the journey of life. We just don't apply it because we put too much pressure on ourselves to achieve it. Journey to carry isn't a hard job, we just, you're going to do that, so you stop at a point, stop at a point, stop at a point. Treat your life like that. You're not going to get there in one go. You're going to get there when you die. That's the end goal. To die. We're born to die. Make peace with that. I would sit here and meditate on that. I'd actually go, if today is my last day on earth, have I achieved everything I said? Am I happy with what I've done? What mistakes have I made that I could rectify right now? Who could I phone up and apologise to? Tell them I love them? Tell them all these things that I didn't say? Because there will be a day that happens. Do you know when Gail and I used to fight? No matter what, I would always walk out and I go, I love you. No matter what. My mum and dad, my kids, I love you. No matter what type of fight we had. Because imagine leaving them and then the last words they ever heard was in anger. So many of us, like there was actually a guy I was talking to last night said that, his son died, and he said he was so grateful that his son said, I love you, Daddy, before, and it was just an accident he had. But he's like, because they used to always fight, and they used to always argue. He's like, imagine that he had left, and that's the last words I'd have thought. It's so fucking important. It's imperative that we recognise that every moment that we have is a gift, and we should treat it as such, and we should see it as a gift rather than a problem. Because when you change your perspective, and it's just a shift in perspective. When you change that perspective, you change the outcome. But anyway, I'm going to go here. Getting a wee bit cold. Poor dog's shivering. I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Have a good day.